everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Bailey and today I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I love this tag. I love this little tradition and that everybody does it. I've already seen a few people posting these. In my opinion, they're a little bit early, but nonetheless, it kicked me into high gear, so here we are. So let's get into the tag. The first prompt is the best book that I've read this year. And you guys, I've read 130 books in this year so far. So I cannot choose just one. So I'm gonna go with two that are such different vibes. One is Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. This romance, top tier romance, was so sweet, so steamy, so swoony. I loved it. Both the main characters were so hot. There was such great representation in terms of fat representation, disability representation. I just loved it so much. So much love for this. I can't wait to buy it. So right now it'll be on the screen. But what an amazing book. It's a book that I still think about all the time, and I feel like that shows how good it is. And the other book that I think about all the time is The Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. This book, I read this last year, and I thought it was okay. I wasn't too impacted by it, but the second read this year was just really opened my eyes, and I just found it so incredible. Lauren as a main character is so amazing. This is just and I mean, it's been everywhere lately because this is about an apocalypse happening in the 2020s. So it does really mirror our lives, and it's just so incredible. I still have not read the second one because it's only a duology, so I'm gonna be really sad when it's over, but I just, wow, this was an incredible book, and I really sincerely hope that everyone reads this because it's so good, and it is so important, such an important conversation about our society. So those are my two faves. Now, the best sequel that I've read so far, when I first heard this prompt, I was like, I haven't read any sequels because I am not a huge series person, but I actually have read a couple, and I've read a few, and the one that I'm gonna go with is Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. This was just mind-blowing. I cried, I laughed, I had what an amazing time. This book is the sequel to Beartown, which is about like this hockey team, and the first book is so good, but this sequel just, I love when sequels just raise it to another level, make it so much better, and that's really what happened with this one. It just raised the stakes. It was so much more gritty. I loved it so much. Love all of the characters. The way Bachman writes about small towns is just incredible, and this is another book that I have not stopped thinking about, and I cannot wait for the next installment, hopefully coming later this year. The next prompt is a new release that I haven't gotten to yet. There's literally so many, but I'm gonna name three. So one is The Passing Playbook by Isaac Fitzsimmons. I went to a bookstore and I did not see it in the store, but I think I will probably be ordering it soon because all the reviews are so amazing of this, and I really need more trans joy in my life, and especially in my reading, so I really want to get to this one. That one's kind of a surprise, not one I was really anticipating, but these two are ones I've been counting down the days to releasing, and I'm so excited that they're finally both out, and that is One Last Stop and Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating. Sapphic, what else do you need? This is an adult sapphic romance, and this is a YA sapphic romance. They both sound like they're gonna be awesome. literally, this book especially, I've just been waiting for it, so I'm so excited for these. And all three of those I really hope to get to by the summer, or at least early fall, hopefully before the end of the year book tag. And then thinking about the second half of this year and the books I'm anticipating, there are several coming out, but I feel like the first half of the year I definitely had a lot more anticipated releases, and now I can kind of chill out with the book buying. But three that I'm really anticipating is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This is the sequel to the Kish Quotient Bride Test series. I still have not read the Bride Test. I kind of want to reread the Kiss Quotient, so I'm thinking once this comes out, I'll read them all at once. And then I'm also, another romance I'm really excited about is All the Feels by Olivia Dade. This is a companion to Spoiler Alert, and it follows like another couple that gets together in that book. That's kind of a side couple, and so this sounds like it'll be great. I just love her writing style, and I love the way she writes romances, so especially writing fat positive romances, so I'm really excited about this one. And then finally, my most anticipated book of second half of the year is definitely the next Aristotle and Dante book. Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World. This, you guys, I mean, many of you probably know, we've been waiting for so long, and finally a sequel. I can't explain how happy I am for this. I'm so excited. Aristotle and Dante is one of my favorite books of all time, my favorite YA for sure, and so to finally get a sequel, I'm just so excited to see what happens next in their story. I think it's going to be so great, and I'm just so excited. And now to reflect on the year past, we have, let's start out sad. Biggest disappointment. Unfortunately, there's been a few duds this year, but I think the one that hurt the most for me was The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin. I just really had high hopes for this. I'd heard like it was so sweet, it was such a like love letter to booksellers, to book lovers, and I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, I just felt like it was really flat, and I felt like the author could have done so much more with the story and with this like idea of adoption and of being the only ones that are different on this island. I mean, I think there could have been so much social commentary there that just wasn't there, and it made it just feel really flat and feel like a just kind of silly inspirational story, but not in a way that really made me feel good, and so that was kind of disappointing to me. I know there's other people like this book, but for me it was kind of a letdown. And on the other hand, we have my biggest surprise. So this was a book I was not, it was actually required for school, and when I saw on the list, I'd never heard of it. I saw it was the 6th book in a series. I was like, what the fuck is this? But it was so good. And that book is The Burning Flame by Michael Nava. This book had so many twists and turns. I was guessing the entire time. There was just so much that went on in this little, 300-page book. And it was truly so interesting, and to read a mystery that features so many gay characters set during the height of the AIDS crisis in LA. It just felt so like the stakes were so high, and it was so interesting. I'm really hoping to eventually read the rest of this series, but honestly, you can read them out of order, and I highly recommend this one. It's been said this one is definitely the grittiest and darkest book of the series, which makes me kind of tentative to pick up the other ones, but this was just incredible, blew me away. I never thought I would be putting like a gay detective fiction crime novel on my favorites list of the year, but here we are, and I'm pretty happy about it. Now for my new favorite author, it's hard because there's not many not many authors that I've read multiple books from where I've loved the books. So I'm gonna go with Kwake Mezi. I've read 2 of their books and they were both really incredible. I've read The Death of Vivek Oji and I've read Pet. I'm really hoping to read their memoir soon, as well as their other book, Freshwater. But the 2 books I've read were both really incredible. When I first read Vivek Oji, I kind of had mixed feelings on it. I felt like it was a little bit too restrained, but now that I've read some of their other work, now that I've read Pet, I see that restrained tone is really just a part of their work. They're not going to give you everything. They really want you to figure things out on your own. And so I really liked that aspect. It's definitely a mood that I need to be in. But nonetheless, their writing is phenomenal. So I'm really hoping to pick up their other books soon. And in general, I'd really like to read other things by them. I think they have solidified that they're an author I can trust. Next, we have my newest fictional crush, and honestly, don't have one because my love life, real and fictional, is dry as fuck. However, I will say, if I had to choose, it would definitely be April from Spoiler Alert. I normally don't go for redheads, but she is hot, and so I like that. And she seems someone that's just really sweet and really interesting, has very like healthy boundaries, and we love that. And so what can I say? If this was real life, I would definitely be hitting on her. Now, in terms of newest favorite character, there's so many characters that I love, but one that I do want to shout out is Eliza from Delicates. She is so cool. She's definitely autistic, and her special interest is photographing ghosts, which is just so cool. Top tier special interest. So I just thought she was so cool, and I loved her storyline about mental health and about asking for help when you need it, about friendship. This was just a really sweet book in general, and she really just made the story, so that makes me happy, and she has solidified a place in my heart as one of my faves. Next is a book that made you cry. So I do not cry very often at books, and I actually have not read anything that sad that I've cried at, so I'm actually going with a book that I've cried tears of joy, and that book is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. I, a few different times, did shed some tears. This book is just so sweet the whole time, and really just so heartwarming. Watching Eve discover herself and discover that she's autistic and discovering love, it was just all so sweet, and I just related to Eve so much, so it made me so happy to see an autistic woman represented and finding love with an autistic man. By the way, it's such a sweet book. I don't know if anyone else would cry at this, but I did. And next is a book that made you happy, and that book, Eve Brown, definitely made me happy. But a book I'll also shout out that made me happy is She Drives Me Crazy by Kelly Quinlan. Wow, this I was listening to the audiobook and I just couldn't help smiling, laughing out loud. It was so funny. It was so sweet. Watching like all these fan fiction tropes come to life. I mean, when I say read like fan fiction, I mean that in the best possible way. Like, it just had all the tropes. They were all hitting. The one bed trope, you know, enemies to lovers, sports person and cheerleader. We love to see it. We love to see it, and it just made me so pleased and so happy to know that this book exists, to know that there is now such awesome sapphic representation for sapphic teens, it just makes me so pleased, and I just love this book so much. And then the most beautiful book that I bought this year is definitely The Magic Fish by Trung Le Nguyen. This book is such a beautiful story. There is this interweaving of fairy tales along with this boy in the 90s who is trying to come out to his family, who they don't really share a language, and that was really sweet, and that part is beautiful. And then the art, the gorgeous art is just so pretty, and overall it is just such a beautiful object, and it makes me like so happy to see it. It's already one that I can see myself rereading soon because I'm just in love with this style of art, the style of storytelling, and so I'm really excited to see what this author writes next. And then the final prompt here is, what is a book you need to get to by the end of the year? There's so many, but I'm gonna go with 3 that I'm positive I will get to. So one is Interior Chinatown by Charles Yu. I've heard so many great reviews of this. Don't know a ton of what it's about. I know it kind of has some social commentary on Asian Americans and their experience living, as well as possibly the entertainment industry. I'm not sure, but this just sounds like it'll be really incredible. It'll be a really quick read too, since it's written in a script style. So this one is a definite to read. Then I'm also hoping to get to Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I can't believe I haven't read this yet either. Everyone is talking about it, and I'm really trying to prioritize reading books by trans authors this year, and especially reading books with protagonists that are non-binary or trans-masculine. So this just sounds like it'll be really incredible. I'm just really, I'm ready. This one could make me cry. I'm ready for the tears. I'm ready to have my heart broken. I'm ready for it. And then finally, I really want to get to Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I've kind of been putting it off because it is quite thick, but I love dark academia. I love a good dark academia story. There's so many on my TBR, and this is one I really want to prioritize. People have been talking about this ever since it came out, and I feel like it's time. It's time. I need to do it. And so I'm hoping to get to this one soon as well. Alright, you guys, that is all for the book tag, the mid-year book freakout tag. That was quite fun to do, to reflect on my reading, to think about my plans for the next year. So if you want to do either of those in the comments down below, I welcome you. If you like this video, you can like the video, and I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. It's been so much fun to have this channel, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!